Hello and welcome to our video on who controls Antarctica, the mystery of the seventh continent. Antarctica is a continent shrouded in mystery, surrounded by icy waters and covered in snow and ice. With no permanent human population, it is a unique and fragile ecosystem that is home to a diverse range of wildlife. But who controls this vast and remote continent? In this video, we'll explore the history of Antarctica's governance, the different claims made by countries around the world, and the current state of affairs on the continent. Antarctica is the fifth largest continent, covering over 14 million square kilometers, making it larger than Europe or Australia. It is also the coldest place on Earth, with temperatures reaching as low as -89.2 degrees Celsius. Despite its harsh conditions, Antarctica has attracted the interest of many countries due to its vast natural resources, including oil, gas, and minerals, as well as its strategic location for scientific research and exploration. The history of Antarctica's governance dates back to the 19th century when different countries started exploring the continent. In 1908, the first international agreement was signed, known as the Treaty of Paris, which recognized the territorial claims made by several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, France, Norway, and Argentina. However, this agreement was not intended to give these countries complete control over the continent. Instead, it was aimed at regulating activities on Antarctica, such as scientific research and exploration, to ensure the protection of the environment and the wildlife. The treaty also prohibited military activities on the continent and established the Antarctic Treaty System in 1961. Today, the Antarctic Treaty System is a framework for the governance of Antarctica, and it includes several agreements and protocols aimed at protecting the continent's environment and ensuring the peaceful use of Antarctica for scientific purposes. The treaty has been signed by 54 countries, including the 7 countries that made territorial claims on the continent. However, these territorial claims are not recognized by all countries, and some nations, such as Russia and the United States, have reserved their right to make claims on Antarctica in the future. This has led to tensions between countries and has sparked fears of a possible Antarctic Cold War in the future. While the Antarctic Treaty System has been successful in regulating activities on the continent and protecting its environment, there have been concerns about the increasing interest in Antarctica's natural resources. Some countries have expressed interest in exploiting Antarctica's oil, gas, and minerals, which could have detrimental effects on the environment and the continent's delicate ecosystem. There have also been debates about the role of private companies in Antarctica. Some argue that allowing private companies to operate on the continent could lead to exploitation and damage to the environment. Others argue that private companies could bring much-needed investment and innovation to Antarctica and could contribute to scientific research and exploration. Another issue that has been raised in recent years is the impact of climate change on Antarctica. The continent is experiencing some of the most rapid changes in the world, with rising temperatures causing melting ice, rising sea levels, and changes in wildlife patterns. As climate change continues to impact Antarctica, there are concerns about the long-term viability of the continent and its ecosystems. In addition, the geopolitical landscape is constantly changing, and new players may emerge in the future with their own interests in Antarctica. As global tensions rise, there is a risk that the existing treaties and agreements may be challenged or even abandoned, leading to a new era of competition and conflict in Antarctica. Another important issue related to the governance of Antarctica is the lack of diversity and representation among the people who work on the continent. The vast majority of the people who work in Antarctica are from developed, Western countries, and there is a lack of representation from other regions of the world, particularly from developing countries. This lack of diversity can have significant implications for the research and exploration conducted on the continent. It can also contribute to a perception that Antarctica is primarily a playground for wealthy countries, rather than a resource that belongs to all humanity.
There have been efforts to address this issue, such as the Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting, which brings together representatives from all the signatory countries to discuss issues related to the governance of Antarctica. However, there is still much work to be done to ensure that the benefits of Antarctica's research and exploration are shared equitably among all nations and that the continent is protected for future generations.
Finally, it is worth noting that Antarctica is not only a continent, but also a symbol of international cooperation and collaboration. Despite the geopolitical tensions and disagreements between countries, the scientific community in Antarctica has been able to work together to advance our understanding of the world and our place in it. It is this spirit of cooperation and collaboration that has allowed the Antarctic Treaty System to function for over 6 decades, and that will be essential in addressing the challenges and uncertainties that lie ahead. By working together, we can ensure that Antarctica remains a symbol of hope and possibility for generations to come. Another important issue related to Antarctica is the impact of tourism on the continent. While tourism can provide economic benefits for local communities and bring attention to the unique environment and wildlife of Antarctica, it also poses significant risks. Tourism can disturb fragile ecosystems and wildlife habitats, introduce invasive species, and create pollution through the transportation of people and goods. It can also lead to the overcrowding of research stations and other facilities, making it more difficult for scientists and researchers to carry out their work. To address these concerns, the International Association of Antarctica Tour Operators, IATO, was established in 1991 to promote responsible tourism in Antarctica. IATO has developed a set of guidelines and best practices for tour operators, including limiting the number of visitors to certain sites and ensuring that waste and pollution are properly managed. However, some experts argue that more needs to be done to regulate and manage tourism in Antarctica, including the establishment of protected areas and stricter regulations on the types of activities that are allowed. In conclusion, the question of who controls Antarctica is complex and controversial. While several countries have made territorial claims on the continent, the Antarctic Treaty System ensures that no one country can have complete control over Antarctica. Instead, the treaty establishes a framework for the peaceful use of Antarctica for scientific research and exploration, while also ensuring the protection of the environment and the wildlife. As the world continues to change, it remains to be seen what the future holds for the governance of Antarctica, and whether the existing treaties and agreements will continue to be respected by all nations. Thank you for watching.